34b, a few lines past the two dots in the middle of the page. So basically, Rabbi Shimon said that we learn out from an oath of deposit to an oath of testimony that your oath of testimony has to be things that are regarding money. Then he had a kal v'chomer. Then he rejected the kal v'chomer, and then he had Gzeira Shava teaching you that you learn from the oath of deposit, the oath of testimony, that you have to deny testimony regarding money. That's a topic of conversation. So now there was some kind of error in the brisa, which the Gemara refers to as mockery. And we're going to try to figure out for the rest of the page what exactly, there was some error in the brisa. What was so wrong with it that they laughed about it, they mocked it in Eretz Yisrael. So Umay Chuka, so Dilma Reb Shimon Bekal v'chomer Ma'isila. What's so bad about it? He's learning from a kal v'chomer mipia chayrim chayiv mipia atzma lo kol shekain. He learned from the oath of deposit to the oath of testimony that just like if someone else can make you make a shvuah, for sure you yourself can make an oath. That makes a lot of sense. So nothing wrong with that. Ela chuka was on the following, the mockers on the following case. Amazed kishoge. That by an oath of deposit, we don't, if you violate it advertently, then there's no atonement. An oath of testimony, if you violate it advertently, it's just like inadvertently, and there will be atonement. Dikatani, as we taught, lo asaba mushba kanishba. By the oath of deposit, we do not make somebody who swears, who others make a swear, the same as he himself makes a swear. And we also don't make mazid kishogeg, inadvertent like advertent. Okay, that's like the title. Now let's see what that means. Michti, let's see. Mazid gabe edus minole. How do you know that by an oath of testimony you're liable for a oath that you do it advertently? You're still liable. You're not liable. You still have a chance to bring atonement. You bring a sacrifice. Usually you only bring a sacrifice if you do it inadvertently. But here there's a special rule by the oath of testimony. You can bring it even when you do it advertently. How do you know that's true? Dilok siv be v'nelam. It doesn't say the word, and he had a lapse. Before, in the whole beginning of Shavuos, we kept saying he had a lapse, he had a lapse, he had a lapse. Only when you have a lapse, you can have atonement. By the oath of testimony, it doesn't say that. It doesn't say that, and therefore, even if he does not have a lapse, he knows it's wrong, he does it anyways, he can still get atonement. Hachanami lokse be'venelam. So too by the oath of deposit, it also doesn't say v'ne'elam and he had a lapse. And yet over there, if you do it advertently, you do not bring atonement. So maybe that's what they're laughing at. So I don't understand. Your whole basis of, the Bryce's whole basis of, that you don't bring atonement, it's because you don't have the word v'ne'elam, there's a lapse. Which means, even if you did it advertently, you bring a sacrifice. The oath of deposit also doesn't have the word v'ne'elam, and yet the Brisa says, there, if you do it advertently, you don't get atonement. So that discrepancy is funny. What should be the difference? So maybe that was what was wrong with the Brisa. That was the mockery, so to speak. That was the mistake in the Brisa. So Amrlu Rav Huna says, Rav Huna, Umayi Chuka. Why is that so funny? Dilma Mezid Dilav Kishogeg Bipikadon is because Mimeila Rabbi Shimon Gamarla. Really, you're right. If it doesn't say the word v'ne'elam, then you should bring it a sacrifice, even if you do it advertently. You're right. By the oath of deposit, we're going to see the words of ma'al. We had last parsha also. It means to misuse. When you misuse something holy, the word is ma'al. The same word is used by the oath of deposit that you didn't misuse the object. The same word is ma'al. So we have a Gzeira Shava teaching you that we're comparing the two sections of the Torah. Now, by me'ila, whenever we use the word me'ila, the definition is you misused sanctity inadvertently, not advertently, inadvertently. There you're liable to sacrifice and you have to bring a fifth, to pay a fifth or whatever. So there we have a Gzeira Shava that just like by me'ila, there's a difference between advertent violation and inadvertent violation. Only for inadvertent violation are you liable to sacrifice. If you do me'ila advertently, you are in trouble, but there's no section of sacrifice, paying a fifth. You have other consequences. So on that, the Gemara says that Rabbi Shimon learned from me'ila. Now, oh, sorry. So you learn from Me'ilah. Now, what was funny about that? Sorry, I jumped the gun a little bit. V'hainu chucha. This is the funny part. Adigamar la me'ilah, nigmar la me'edos. So you're learning things from each section, from the oath of testimony to the oath of deposit, and from Me'ilah. So why did you choose to learn from Me'ilah? You should learn from oath of testimony that you are able to get atonement if you do it advertently. How did you choose to learn from here versus here? So just like yesterday, we're going to have it's going to be comparable to both, and then the winner is going to be the one that has more comparisons. So adigamar le me'ilah nigmar la me'edos. Once you're learning from Me'ilah, instead of learning from Me'ilah, learn from Eidos, from the oath of testimony, that you are liable to bring a sacrifice if you do it advertently, and not that you're exempt from bringing a sacrifice. So says the Gemara, well, why is that so funny? It's more logical to learn from Me'ilah. Why? Shekain, first of all, Me'ilah min Me'ilah. The two words Me'ilah are similar. Says the Gemara, Adrabah. Me'edos halil me'elav, shekain takta v'takta. You have a Gzeir Shava from oath of testimony with the words techeta and techeta. So similarity in words, they both check off the box. The similarity in words from oath of deposit to Me'ilah, oath of deposit to oath of testimony. One has techeta, one has Me'ilah. So that's not a good that can't outweigh. So says the Gemara, it's more logical to learn from Me'ilah. Why? Shekain, and here come a bunch of comparisons. Shekain Me'ilah Bekol, Nana Bekavua, Chomesh V'Asham. Okay, it's one by one. They both say the word Me'ilah. That's one. They both apply to everybody. Oath of deposit is anybody who's watching someone else's object. Me'ilah is anybody who misuses sanctity. Oath of testimony is only for people that can be witnesses. A relative, a woman, they can't be witnesses. So it doesn't apply there. It's another similarity between the oath of deposit and Me'ilah. They both get hana, they both derive benefit from what they did. So Me'ilah, you're taking sanctity and you misuse it. So you're getting benefit by misusing it, whatever it is. You rode the cow, you rode the korban home. So that's, and also the deposit. Someone deposits something by you and you got to use it and you deny that you never used it. So, but the oath of testimony, you just, either you do or you don't know testimony. That's not tangible benefit. So they both bring a set korban, the oath of deposit and Me'ilah. And oath of testimony, you bring the variable offering. It's not set, it depends on your financial status. And the oath of deposit and Me'ilah both require a chomesh, you have to pay a fifth of the principal, more than the principal, and v'asham, and a guilt offering. And Shavuot Eidos, the oath of testimony, that offering is a category of a chatos, and there's no fifth that you bring. So those are the similarities. So now says the Gemara, Adarabba, say the opposite. Me'edus, learn from oath of testimony. Those are also very similar. Haba leila melaf. What are their similarities? So first of all, shkein chata. It says the word chet by both sections. Second of all, hedyot. That it's things that are regarding non-sanctity items, testimony and watching someone's object. Me'ilah is only by holy objects. They both make a shvuah. You both make an oath. Me'ilah, there's no oath, it's just misusing sanctity. So that's also these two oaths. They come with a tviyah v'kvira. You have to claim and deny. Me'ilah, you just take the object and misuse it. There's no claiming, do you know testimony? Denying that you know testimony. So that's another similarity. And the Owen, they both have these O's. Both Shavuos HaPikadon and Shavuos Eidos both have the word O. So basically, we have the oath of testimony, the oath of deposit in the middle. On the one hand, we have Me'ilah, which teaches you that if you do it on purpose, you're not liable to sacrifice. On the other, and I guess a triangle is better than. On the other part of the triangle, you have the oath of testimony that teaches you are liable. You do get atonement. You do have to bring a sacrifice, even when you violate it and you deny testimony on purpose and you're found to be a liar. So does the oath of deposit go after Me'ilah, or does it go after oath of testimony? That the Gemara says that Me'ila has more. Hanach Nefishin. Yeah, this one has more. That's why you learn from there. So there's no mockery over here. It's very logical why Reb Shimon learns from Me'ila. So what were they laughing about? He learns from Me'ila because it has more similarities than the oath of testimony. That's not something to laugh at. That's something to agree to. So Ela Ma'i Chuka. So what was that part of the Bryce that seems to be mistaken that caused mockery? Ki also Rav Papa of Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua. Rav Papa arrived and Rav Huna Breder of Yeshua came. Mibei Rav, from the academy of Rav. And what happened? Amri Hainu Hucha. I'll tell you what the problem is. Michti, let's see. Rabbi Shimon Gamir. Rabbi Shimon has a Gzeira Shava, which learns with Gzeira Shava of Takata Takata to from oath of deposit to oath of testimony. Now, in his Kal V'chomer, one of his rejections was that by the oath of deposit, someone else administering a shvuah to you is not the same if you do it on your own. So says the Gemara, well, once you have a Gzeira Shava learning, oath of testimony from oath of deposit, then you should learn out that by oath of deposit, both oaths are going to be good. Once you're learning a Gzeira Shava, so you learn it the whole way, and then just like oath of testimony, you can make your own shvuah. So to oath of deposit, you can make your own shvuah. So, Rabbi Shimon Gomer, so lamali the parich. Why did he use that logic to reject his kal v'chomer? So mala pikadon, just like an oath of testimony, shekain lo asabo mushba kenishba, that we don't make someone else who makes you swear the same as you if you yourself made a shvuah, or mezid kishogeg. So once you're saying that, why shouldn't the oath of deposit be the same exact laws of the oath of testimony? At the end of the day, you do learn a Gzeira Shava between them. So says the Gemara, that's not so funny. Why? Ma'i Chuka, what's that mockery? Dilma, you know when he asked that question? It was before he learned the Gzeira Shava. That was the first day of class. Before he knew of the Gzeira Shava, he asked us. Once he knew the Gzeira Shava, it didn't bother him. Dilma ki parich mekame to take him like Gzeira Shava. But basar the kame like Gzeira Shava lo parich, which would mean that once he has the Gzeira Shava, the rules of the two oaths should be the same. They both should require. If a person, they both should be that if a person makes his own oath, or someone else administers an oath upon him and he says amen, they both should, and then they're found to be a liar, they both should be liable. Once you have a Gzeira Shava learning from one section to the other, then the law should all be the same. So now we're saying the law of Hamarlu Rava bar iti lerabanan. Who's the one who holds that if you do a shvus apikadon advertently, it's not you don't get kapara for it? So he says Reb Shimon. It is Reb Shimon. So says the Gemara, Dilma mezid kishogik parich. What are you asking? Advertent from inadvertent? The Gemara le me'ila the hanach nefishin. That's not a question. He learns from me'ila that there's a difference if you do it advertently versus inadvertently. How do I know the difference? I learned from the section of Me'ila where you only bring a sacrifice if you do it inadvertently, but not if you do it advertently. But mushba or nishba lo parich. But if someone else makes you make a shvuah, or you yourself make a shvuah, that we didn't ask on. That we understood that there is a difference. So on that, the Gemara says there's a difference by the oath of deposit. If someone else makes you make a shvuah, or you yourself make a shvuah, that they hadar eidos. So once that's true, that they hadar eidos, the tigmar la mepikadon. Why don't you now go back to the oath of testimony and learn from the oath of deposit that what? That mezid is the lav kishogeg. Now go the other way. Learn to the oath of testimony that doing something advertently, denying testimony advertently, should have different laws than inadvertently. We're going the other way now. Once you have a Gzeira Shava of oath of deposit, oath of testimony, learn to the oath of testimony that there should be a difference if you do it advertently versus inadvertently. Ma pikadon shogeg in mezid lo, af eder shogeg in and mezid lo. Just like the oath of deposit, only if you do it inadvertently do you bring a sacrifice. But if you were to do it advertently, you do not bring a sacrifice. So to the oath of testimony should have that same difference. Just like you learned pikadon, oath of deposit, from me'ilah, so then you should then take it one step further and learn it to the oath of testimony and not require a sacrifice if you do it advertently. And yet we say not like that. So maybe that's what was funny. So to that we say no. Lahachi kasa on the next page. Lahachi kasa rachmana le'edas gabe shuas bitu. If a guy wants to make this for kadashav, the bekula nemra ben menelam, the kan lo nemra ben menelam lechayiv ala mezik tishogeg. So what the Gemara is saying is your logic is good. It's a good logic, except where is the section of the oath of testimony written? It's written next to the oath of utterance, and it's written next to the whole first part of Shavuos that we learned about when you go into the temple or you yourself forgot that you're impure and you eat something holy or you walk into the base of mikdash that's holy. It's written in that section, and in that section the rules are if you have a lapse, if you do something inadvertently, you have a lapse. Only then do you bring a sacrifice. So therefore, even though we have a Gzeira Shava and we could learn it out from the oath of deposit, but the location of where the Torah places the oath of testimony is by the section where the word vinelam, and he has a lapse, is very primary. It applies to the oath of utterance. It applies to walking to the base of mikdash. It applies to eating something holy if you forgot that you're impure. So too, by the oath of testimony, it's going to make a difference if you do it advertently or inadvertently. It's written there, and yet it doesn't say by this section of the oath of testimony, v'ne'elam. So it's written in the area where it keeps saying v'ne'elam, 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 and you have a lapse, and only when you have a lapse you bring a sacrifice. And right by the oath of testimony, which is written in that area, it doesn't say, and if you have a lapse, you have to bring a sacrifice to teach you that it sort of breaks the rules. All those other cases in that section, you require a sacrifice only when you have a lapse. However, the oath of testimony, you are going to be liable a sacrifice even when you do not have a lapse. So at the end of the day, if you do it advertently or inadvertently, you're still going to be liable a sacrifice for the oath of testimony because it doesn't say the word vinelam over there. Okay, a little technical, and now we're going back to general, less details, and then a fascinating whole page about the name of Hashem, when it can be erased, when it cannot be erased. Probably very practical for what you can say in the bathroom, for writing a Sefer Torah, right? Things like that. So, yeah, okay. Mashbiani aleichem. It says so. More rules about the oath of testimony. Someone says, "I'm making you make a swear that you know testimony about me." Ruvain told me he owes me $200. I make you guys make a swear that you heard Ruvain tell me that you owe me $200, and he never gave it to me yet. If they were to testify, deny testimony, then found to be liars, they're exempt. So what are they testifying about? That he admitted to you that he owes you money? No. They have to deny that he gave you money or he didn't give you money. But just testifying that he committed to give you money, that's not something which causes a direct. It has to be about money itself, not about a commitment to give money. So therefore, they're exempt. We're going to go through each one of these cases in the Gemara. It has to be just like the oath of deposit. You have a deposit right here, and you're testifying about an object, so about someone's object. So by the oath of testimony, you have to be testifying about money, not about a verbal commitment to give money. So therefore, if you deny that, you're not going to be liable for the oath of testimony. That's one. Two. So a person makes a swear that when you know testimony about me, listen, I'm gonna, I don't know, I'm not exactly the safest person to be in society. I'll probably get in trouble in the near future. So when I get in trouble or whatever it is, make sure you come and testify. So he's making them commit to a future testimony. So shetavo, you should come. No, that's not going to work. Why? Because your oath preceded testimony. You can't have them commit in the future. That's no good. You get up and shul for the drasha, Amar b'beis hakneses v'Amar, and you say, Mashbia, listen, everybody in shul, all of you, I'm making you make a swear that if you know testimony about me, testify. And let's say the whole shul says, yeah, amen. So and then they're all found to be liars. They all saw whatever happened. So then, hare elu pturim, because you have to designate the witnesses. You can't speak to the general public. General public, I put upon you an oath. You have to specify the witnesses. I guess if the whole shul did see him, then they're all witnesses. But we're talking about a case where you have a whole shul and two of the witnesses know, right? So and they come and they say amen. So that's not good. He has to specify you two witnesses. If you know testimony, but he can't speak to a general public, hoping that somebody there will be a witness for him. Amar l'shnayim, he tells two people, Mashbiani aleichem ish ploni uploni. I'm making these Mashbiani aleichem ish ploni uploni. Imatam yodim li edu shalvo v'tayiduni. Shvuah. So v'tayiduni. So it tells two people, regular people, come and testify that you know testimony about me. And now they say shvuah einanu yodim lecha edus. No, we make a shvuah. We don't know any testimony about you, about this case. Reuben owes you $1 million. No idea. No, I'm sorry, can't help you. And they make an oath. However, they're lying. But how are they lying? They know testimony, just they heard from somebody else. Someone else told them about this case. Or they're both brothers. They're both krovim. They're both relatives. They heard from someone else. Alternatively, or one of them is a relative or someone who's invalid to be a witness. They're also exempt because the oath of testimony is bound by who can testify. And since they can't testify, they can't be liable for the oath of testimony either. Fourth case, Shalach biyad avdo, you send your servant, Osh Amar Lahen Hanitpa, or the defendant comes and makes somebody make a shvuah. So the point is that it's not you, the claimant, it's the defendant, or it's your servant. And they come and they say, you two testify that you know testimony about this guy. And then they're found to be liars. They're exempt. Why? They have to be told to make a shvuah by the toveya, by the claimant, not by the claimant's servant, and not by the defendant. It has to come from the mouth of the claimant himself. Only then does a section of oath of testimony apply. Okay, so four different halachas. It has to be on money, and it can't precede the shvuah can't precede the testimony. It can't be general. You have to specify, and it has to come from the mouth of the claimant. Okay, now each case. In the first case of the Mishnah, come and testify that Reuven promised me 100 zuz, 200 zuz. Come and be a witness that he promised me to give me money. So Yachal you chayav, and you would have thought that maybe you would be liable. Why not? It has to do with money. They're denying testimony. Talmud lomar techeta l'gzeira shava. You learn gzeira shava from the oath of testimony from the oath of deposit to the oath of testimony. Nemar kan techeta, it says over here techeta. Nemar lahalan says over there techeta. Ma lahalan, but when you're watching someone's object for you, it's betvias mammon. It has to do with money. It's right here in front of you. The yeshlo, and it's here. Avkan, it's betvias mammon. It has to do with money, but not in general money. It has to be money that's right here, money that's in front of you. A verbal commitment, so it has to do with money, but it's not right here. It's hopefully going to come, but it's not here right now, and therefore that's not going to work. Case number 2 was whenever you find out testimony about me, you commit yourself now to be my witnesses. So, when you know testimony about me, come and testify. And you would have thought that maybe they should be liable. If they say okay and they testify, that will be your witnesses, and then they're found to be, and then they I guess they deny that they know testimony, and then they are found to be liars, and they're found to be liars. So you would have thought you would be liable. Talmud Lomer, the Torah says, "V'shama kol Allah v'hu eid ora." Oh yada, it's only the witness that hears the shvuah. You have to first be a witness, and then you can make the shvuah. But you can't make the shvuah before being a witness. So Misha Kadma, only someone who the edus preceded the shvuah, velo shekadma shvuah edus, but not somebody whose testimony preceded the shvuah. The oath preceded testimony, yeah. Not someone who's the oath preceded the testimony, yeah. You have to be right now a witness. You saw the case, and now you're denying testimony. Right. So you can't make a swear. You can't. Right. Exactly. So, yeah. I mean that they're making a swear now that they will be the witnesses. They're committing now for the future. When you know testimony, come and testify. Meaning? Yeah, look at the second case of the Mishnah, right? They're right now going to make a shvuah that they're not going to be the witnesses, and then they. How to check the second case of the Mishnah?
He's a witness indicates that he was really able to be a witness when he took the oath.
True, as opposed to what's the other case? Right. So meaning you're making an oath now. What's your oath now? But I guess I'll be a witness. And then what happens? You have to deny it in some way. You don't show up. You deny testimony, whatever it is, and then you're found to be a liar. So your commitment before you were even a witness is not going to work. The whole oath is once you're a witness, now you can or cannot make an oath. But making an oath before you're a witness, that's not going to work. Because the Torah says you have to be a witness and then you can make an oath. Third case, Amar Beis HaKnesses. You get up in a shul and you say, everyone swear to me that you don't know testimony. So now, Amar Shmuel modifies the case a little bit. Afilu Eidav Beinehen. So even if the witnesses are in the crowd, says obviously, if witnesses are not in the crowd, then nothing doing. Pshita, no. Lo tzricha dekayu ilave, they're right next to you. I mean, the two witnesses are right here. So like really you're intending for these two guys that are sitting right next to you, right? So you're intending for them, you just didn't specify them. You said, everyone here swear to me that you don't know testimony. Now, you're really referring to two guys next to you, but you didn't single them out. So that's the novelty. They're right next to you. It's as if you're speaking to them. No, it's not like you're speaking to them. You have to single them out. You two testify, not you general. You two specifically have to be singled out. And it can't be, you can't assume that even though he's referring to the general public, he's referring to the guys next to him. You got to explicitly single them out. Tanya Mihachi, Ra'asiyah Shabbanei Adam, another brisa supports this. You see a whole group of people, Omdim, the Eidav Beinehem, and you know that there's two witnesses in that crowd, in that group of people, the Amar Lahem, and you tell them, Mashbieni Aleichem, you're speaking to the crowd, and you say, make us swear that you know testimony about me, that you should come and testify. So now, Yachol Yu Chayavin, if they come testify and then they come and deny testimony and they're found to be liars, you would have thought that maybe they're liable. Yachol Yu Chayavin, Tamlover no, Vehu Eid, V'harei Lo Yiched Eidav. You have to be a witness, and the guy never specified who he's talking to. So the fact that they came on their own and denied testimony and are found to be liars is not good enough. You have to single them out, then they have to come, then deny testimony, then they're liable. Found to be liars, then liable. You'd have thought maybe if you said everybody who's standing here, Talmud Lomer, no. Who aid? Who yachid aid of? You have to specify and single out the witnesses. You can't say anybody who's standing here who knows testimony about me, come and testify. Or testify to me that you know testimony. And then two guys there say, we don't know testimony about you. And then two of them are found to be liars. That's not good. Because originally you didn't specify. It's interesting. You have to specifically say, you two, do you know testimony about me? Yes or no? Okay. Taner Rabbanan Amar l'shnayim mashbiani aleichem ploni uploni im atem yodim li'edus shetavo v'teyaduni v'hein yodim lo edus ed mipi eight. Oshay achamem karvo pasol. The last case of the third last case of the Mishnah, the third case of the Mishnah said, regular case, you two witnesses come and testify that you know testimony about me. They come and they testify that they do not know testimony about him. Then they're found to be lying. However, either they're relatives, they're both brothers or cousins, or they only know testimony because someone else told them. Both of those are invalid for testimony, and therefore they'll be invalid for the oath of testimony also. You'd have thought that maybe they should be liable because they still testified and then they still lied. They denied testimony when really they knew testimony, so they should be liable. Talmud Lomar im lo yagid. So Rashi says, what's im lo yagid? If you look in the Torah, the word lo is spelled Lamed Vav Aleph. Spelled totally, it's called complete mole. Lamed Vav Aleph. So why is it spelled like that? For us to interpret, Im lo yagid v'nosan avono birauyin lehagada hakatzum medaber. That Lamed Vav Aleph, usually it's either Lamed Vav or Lamed Aleph, not Lamed Vav Aleph, is teaching you that you have to be someone who's fitting to give testimony. Only someone who's fitting to give testimony. If he denies testimony and then is found to be a liar, he is not going to be liable. Because if they would come and give regular testimony, they'd be exempt. So too, if they come and make a shvuah, they make an oath, and then are found to be lying, they're also going to be exempt. Fourth case, you send your servant or the defendant makes two people swear that they don't know testimony, and then those two people are found to be liars, they are exempt. Come and testify to me if you know testimony about me. Come and testify. Either the servant went or the defendant went. So yachol you chayav, and you'd have thought that maybe you should be liable. Talmud Lomer im lo yagid v'nasa avoni. So it says im lo yagid v'nasa avono. So says if someone who doesn't come and testify, and then he's found to be bearing sin. So says the Gemara, Ma'i Talmud, a word you learn from that pasuk. Rabbi Dovid im lo yagid ksiv. Sorry, I jumped around before. Sorry, the Lamed of Aleph is now, not earlier. Earlier was just someone who's fitting to be a witness. Im lo yagid v'nasa avono. That was earlier. Sorry. So here we're saying Amar Lazar im lo yagid ksiv im lo yagid v'nasa avono v'im la'acher lo yagid pater. So meaning to himself, it's only if he himself, if only he himself. It sounds like if only the claimant goes and tells them, and then they deny, then they're going to be liable. But if the claimant doesn't tell them and someone else tells them, then they're going to be exempt. Yeah. So another exposition that teaches you that it has to come from the mouth of the claimant and not from the defendant or somebody else. Right. Meaning if to him lo yagid, they deny testimony. Only if to him they deny testimony, and not if they deny it to somebody else. Who's somebody else? The defendant or to the servant. Only to him, the claimant, do they have to come and deny testimony. If they did it to his servant or to the defendant, that's not going to be good enough. Mashpi'ani aleichem, mitzavani aleichem, osarchem ani. So this will explain more of this in the Gemara. 3 ways to put a shvu on somebody. Those are all 3 different verbal formulations of putting an oath upon somebody. Hare'elu chayavin. Those are all 3 good ways that if you say that to somebody, that'll be a good way to put a shvu on somebody, put an oath on them. If you say b'shamayim u'ba'aretz, you're swearing in the name of heaven and earth. Hare'elu p'turin. That's not a valid way to refer to Hashem. B'shamayim u'ba'aretz. If you say ba'alef dalid or b'yud hey, Aleph Daled, the first 2 letters of Hashem's of the way we pronounce Hashem's name, or b'yud hey, the last 2 letters, or b'shakai shin daled yud. Yeah, I'm not saying Hashem's name in vain. Shakai, that's if you use that name of God, or b'tzvakos, another name of Hashem called legions. He's the head of the legions. Another name of God, or b'chanun b'rachum. He's graceful and is merciful. If you use those, meaning you have to use the name of God to invoke a shvu upon somebody. What if you use these names of God, not only Yud Kei Vav Kei? So if you use these names of God, is that going to be good too? Or you say Be'erech Hapayim, he's slow to anger. Or you say B'rav Chesed, his kindness is abundant. Or Be'kol HaKinuyin, any name that's a, so to speak, a nickname of Hashem, which is another way to refer to Hashem, those are all valid. That if you say, swear to me, in the name of slow to anger, in the name of merciful, in the name of compassionate, we know when you say Erech Apayim, it's referring to Hashem. Chanun V'rachim is referring to Hashem. So therefore, all of those are valid ways to impose a shvu upon somebody. Now, what if you swear? We know from Mekalel, if you swear, you also have to swear. The Mishnah told us in Sanhedrin, you swear in the name of Hashem. So what if you swear in the name of Chanun V'rachim? You totally blaspheme somebody in the name of Chanun V'rachim, in the name of Erech Apayim, slow to anger. Is that considered a curse? Is that really cursing somebody, or no? Hamakal bekulan chayiv de Reb Meir. Reb Meir says you are liable. Chachamim say you're exempt. Potrin. If you cursing parents not allowed. What if you curse them in the name of Erech Apayim, slow to anger, Chanun V'rachum? So abundant kindness. Yeah, I'm swearing. I'm cursing you in the name of abundant kindness. So Hamakal aviv imo bekulan chayiv. Reb Meir says you're chayiv. Chachamim potrin. Chachamim say you're exempt. Hamakal atzmo, you curse yourself. V'chavero. So bekulan over below sasa, you for sure have violated a negative commandment, as it says in Devarim, Yach Hashem b'shachefes u'b'kadachas. Elokim. Yeah, v'chein yichavim Elokim. So if you curse them in the name of Elokim, v'chein yichach Elokim. Zuhi Allah Ksuva b'Torah. That is the oath that is written in the Torah. Meaning, if you go to witnesses and you say, sorry. Now it's something else. 1 second, sorry. Yeah. You go to the part in the Devarim that talks about the curses, and you say, right? Hashem says these diseases should come upon you. So you tell witnesses. You know what's going to happen to you if you don't make a shvuah. One of the curses in Parshas Kisavo is going to come upon you if you don't testify. So Zuhi Alaksu b'Torah. That would be considered an oath that would be put upon them. That's also a way to put an oath upon them. Al Yaakov v'Yivarchecha v'Yitav Reb Meir Mechayach Hamim Potrin. If you say you should be blessed and these things should not come upon you, if you testify for me. So Reb Meir says that would be a good way to put testimony upon them, and because you can learn from the positive the negative, and the Chachamim say no, that would not be a valid way to impose a shvuah on somebody. I'll get to the exciting names of Hashem tomorrow.